Hi, today I'm going to take you through setup of your K8. Look at the tap components. I'm going to do a few different videos, just stop and start so that you can follow this very easy. So unbox everything in your box. Please make sure you keep the outer cardboard box and the inner cardboard box and the foam. Just because over the years you're going to need to send it back to Sydney or wherever you are located around the world for a service. So because they have a 5-year warranty, always before the end of the 5 years, we want to send it back in for a service. So now you've got this out of the box. It's actually put it on the side, take it out slowly. I want you to lay this down on the side and take it out, the foam, or take the foam out first, and then just take it out because you don't want to drop this machine on the ground or the floor or things like that. So maybe it is easier to unpack on the floor first and then bring it up onto the actual countertop. I'm going to take you through the next steps of setting it up in the kitchen. Firstly, I want you to have a look at your kitchen tap. So if you have any kind of kitchen tap, you'll actually need to remove this part off the tap. What you might need is a set of wrench like this to actually just be able to unscrew it. If it's usually a little bit too tight, you're going to need one. Now, what you'll need to know is the standard tap fitting sort of around about 20-22 mils in size in here. If it's a lot smaller, we're going to need to look at a different tap fittings and how they work. Inside your box, you have a little packet like this, which has a couple of components in it. So this has like a little extender. This is what you will put in first if you need it, and you'll have a nice little stainless steel head on there as well. It also comes with another little part, and this will also show you whether you may want to use that one on your actual head of your tap or not. For me, I like to use the stainless steel one. Now, inside your pack, you have an operational chart, so make sure you grab that one out. And you can also have a look on the back of it for all the different tap heads and fittings and components for all the different types of taps. So I'm just going to show you the simple one. Most people tend to have this good size fitting in their kitchen for this tap. This one has a thread on the outside, so I don't need to have any extenders. But if your thread was internal, you'll be able to actually use this one. What you might need to do firstly is you may need an actual extra little piece of rubber that goes underneath it to get a better suction on it. Place them up in there first, all right? Do that. Screw it in just by hand and then tighten it up with a wrench, right? This is the first thing to ensure that we don't have water coming out of the top of the hose. If you get this done right first, it's a lot easier to do. And then the next step is, if you do have this in here, is then just to only screw this part on. Leave the hose off to start with. So just want you to follow these steps by step. If not, like mine, it just actually literally just screws onto the thread. So it's just finding the thread, just turn the tap that way. Just do it up tight. And then get your wrench, and you are going to need to tighten it so that you get a good full, so that it doesn't have any water come out of it, all right, when we go to turn it on. All right, so the fitting's on there. Now we're going to come back and have a look at the machine. You're going to notice they've got a hose at the top. It's got a plug on it. Please make sure you do not lose these. Keep these because you're going to need them to use them as a plug for later. Now if we tilt the machine up a little bit underneath from the back, you're going to notice that it also has another plug that's underneath. Make sure this one comes around the front to the front of the machine and sits in the corner, because this one will come into the bottom of the sink like this. All right, take this one off as well. Now the machine has actually had water run through it. They do test them. They are manufactured by the in the manufacturing company and put together by the one person from start to finish. Grab your power point, all right, so there's your power point. Tip your machine upside down and just place it into the back of the machine. Make sure it is firmly in there. If it's not plugged in properly, it can actually turn off. If your machine's turning off, you're having trouble, just check your power point. Just check that these hoses are screwed in nice and tight too, so they're in nice and tight. And we're just going to firstly connect the water. So bring your hose around. Just make sure it's not kinked. Sometimes there's been an issue with the water flow, and that'll be because your hose is kinked, right? So just pull that around the side. It's really simple and easy. I've just got it tied around the damn electrical cord. All right, so if it's easier for you, just bring it around the front of the here, around behind your tap. It's going to be a lot easier for you, and then it's going to cause any swing issue for your tap. So what we're going to do is just turn this section around to the side a little bit. I'm going to explain to you why I've got a milk bottle in my sink there in a second. All right, so I'm just going to turn it on the side there, get my camera right. Okay, so when you've taken the filter off your tap, off the top here, just make sure you put it somewhere safe and don't lose it, because when you go to transport your machine or whatever, you want to be able to put this back onto the top of the tap. So I keep a little plastic container underneath the sink with all the parts in it so I don't lose it. Now the next component is you're going to have a little thing like this. If you think this is like a tap, you know, for your hose outside, you just grab this, pop it over the end, right? Sometimes it's easier just to get hot water on there if you do need to. Push it over the end. It's pretty easy to pop on, and then just screw it up like a tap head. So we want to tighten it up really tight on there. If you need to, if it's a little bit not too tight, that's nice and tight on there. That's it. It's very simple and easy to attach on here, and it's actually ready to go. Okay, so the first thing before we turn the water on is we're going to put the enhancer solution in the tank. So you'll notice in the bottom in here, it does have a little tank in here. This is the salt solution that we place in the tank. So this is very heavy salt water, and this is only used for the 2.5. So a really easy way to do is you'll notice that there's a little arrow on the side there. Just turn this around to the side where it's got the little arrow on there and the point on there, and just lift it off. All right, put all of this into there and then put it back into the machine. So just making sure when you pop the lid back on, you turn it around that way before you put it in the machine. Okay, so I'm just pouring all the enhancer in. Take the lid off, literally pour the whole lot on. Do not ever throw this out. If you need to take it out and transport it, put it back into this bottle, because these bottles cost you around about $5 plus GST, I think it is. So keep those, pop your little lid back on there, and you'll just see that I'm just going to put it back in the machine. Just put it in and pop the lid on it just like that. Now we're ready to have a go at turning it on. So I'm just going to move the camera in a little bit closer for you so you can see it. The machine. So I'm going to show you how to turn it on. Now every time when you do touch the screen, it will automatically turn on, and even when you go to turn the water flow on, it will automatically turn on as well. So once you do, make sure you've got your operational chart, this one in front of you, and your water use chart, which you've got in your email as well. So every time you press this button, it's going to tell you what's come out of the top hose and what's coming out of the bottom hose, all right? So you're going to need this in front of you for at least, I'd say, 6 months. I reckon it took me 6 months to get used to it. If you remember, if I press the Kangen 9.5 water, and there's 9 and 8.5. So firstly, we want you to start drinking the 8.5 first in the first few days, just to allow your body to slowly detox and get used to the water. Then move up to 9 for a couple of days, and then finally up to the 9.5. But on here, you'll see, if you look at the top hose, the top hose is bringing out high mineral-rich water, hydrogen-rich water, antioxidant-rich water, alkalized water, ionized water. It's lots of things. So it shows you up the top there. Now it will automatically power off as well, and you can go in the settings and change that. I'll do in the next video for that one. But underneath it says do not drink. The reason is because there's no minerals in it. It says producing all the mineral-rich water into the top drinking water. Now you can use all of this water for everything as normal, washing your dishes, cooking with, everything in there. Now you'll notice these are the 2 cleaning waters, which is what I've put the salt solution in the bottom there. The salt is only ever used for the 2.5 pH water. It's not used for anything else. And so once you run the 2.5 water through the machine, which is the bottom button on here, it tells you it's going to do it, and then the 2.5 will come out of the bottom and the 11.5 will come out of the top hose. So with the 11.5, it loves to be stored for a good month. So I'll do another video on all the water uses and how that works next. But this is just for the setup of the machine. So just have a play with this, understand, and keep this in front of you. It is laminated. The best thing to do is actually stick it on the wall above you until you get really used to it. So inside the settings next, we can look at all the different things from all the different languages to the volume. Keep it up on high for a little while, just until you get used to using the machine. We keep ours on silent now because we don't need to. But the next thing I want you to do is look at the pH settings in the back end of the machine. Now, what you do have in your kit is a little pH drop tester kit in here. So what I want you to do is just put a little bit of tap water in there and 1 to 2 drops, just squeeze it in and do it in your sink, because the drops will stain your bench top if you do pop it in there. It will come off, but best to just do it in the sink. So what we want you to do is just test your source water, because here in Adelaide, we have 4 separate different source waters and they're all very, very different. And this means I need to calibrate the machine to make good Kangen water so we can see the colour comes up. Now, I already know here in Hahndorf, up in the Adelaide Hills, I can actually bring the settings of mine up to 6. But to get nice purple Kangen water when we pour the 9.5. But if I go over to the Northern Beaches side, I have to bring it up to 7 to get the water. Otherwise, it sits at a blue. We'll show you in another video about cleaning it. You can change the brightness so you can have it nice and bright, so you can do that. You can change the sleep settings in here, so it'll automatically turn off after 1 or 2 minutes or 5 minutes. It stays on, I usually put it on for about 3. You can check your filter check. So brand new one shows you that it's sitting on the bottom. It will take a year in there. Now you do have a sticker in your box. Please make sure that in the filter, so the filter's already in your machine and it is ready to go, so you shouldn't need to touch it. Place the sticker on the top here from your box and put the date on it so you know when you put it in there. For Dale and I, as only 2 of us using the water, it can take around about 1.5 years for us to actually go to the full filter. But I can tell you right now, at 12 months, the water really does need a new filter in it, because it makes such a huge change when you first experience it. Okay, so just going back to the main settings. These are the main settings for all your water use, which is on your operational chart. It's going to take you a little while to get used to it all. But your main drinking waters, your electronic charge ones are here on this side in here. Great for your teas and coffees. Now just remember, it is high mineral rich water. I actually do just use the clean water on my tea and coffee. What it will do is leave a little bit of a build-up on the inside of your drink bottles. I'll just show you this one here. This one here does have a slight mineral build-up on the inside of it. You just put a bit of vinegar in it, rinse it around, and it actually just all falls off. You don't even need to scrub it. So for your tea and coffee machines, I always recommend to actually just use the clean water. So it's non-charged, but it's taken the chlorine and the impurities out of the water, and it'll boil really nicely. And then if your tea or coffee was a bit off taste, you can just add a little bit of Kangen water and it'll balance it nicely. Now you do see that we have a wastewater button on the bottom, and the drinking water does come out of the top hose all the time. So make sure that you use your drinking water out of the top one. I capture all the water in the bottom. So why I had a milk bottle in here before is I just place underneath there with a sponge, and I capture all my wastewater, and I actually bottle it and just keep it for washing the dishes, cooking, steaming with it. If you get excess too much, you can put it on your plants. You can use it to wash the floors, throw it in your washing machine, like literally anything. With the wastewater, I use 2 of those to put in the sink to wash my dishes, and I'll boil 1-2 litre as well in the kettle and still use it. So you shouldn't be wasting any water at all. It's just demineralized. Dale uses it for the CPAP machine. We use it in our iron as well because it's really has no minerals in it, not like the drinking water. So you can use it for all sorts of things as well. So when we go to drink it, I'm just going to show you how to turn it on. It actually takes nothing to turn it on. You're basically a little tap head on the side here. We'll just turn it around now so it sits this way. When you turn it this way, it's just going to run through the tap as normal. And when we turn it this way, it's going to run through the machine. So when you've got your machine set up for the first time, just turn it on for a few minutes just to get the water running through it for the first time. Let it just have a rinse because it has been sitting still for a while, because these were made in Japan. The turnover here is pretty fast. Like, these things don't really sit long in the warehouse here, so they are made and put together by the one person from start to finish. That's why the price of them is so high. It is a really high quality product you've got here, and it's got 8 titanium platinum dip plates in through here as well. So I'm just going to pop it up to 9.5, and I'm just going to take a small sample of the water now. It's been running through for a second, and we'll just test it. I'm just going to turn that off for you, and I'll show you what it looks like when we test it. Okay, so I'm just going to, I've poured there, I've got a couple of pH drops in it. I'm just going to pop 2 in it, just give it a light squeeze. Well, it only needs one actually. Look at that. That just goes to show you that's what we want. We want to see a nice purple when we pour the 9.5. So if it's sitting on blue, just go into the settings in the back end there before, like I showed you before, and go into the pH settings and then take it up one more. All right, I don't need to because our water here is pretty good and that's fine. So that shows you that's working really well. So I'll just pour some clean water and just do a test on there so you can just see the differences in the water. Just allow the electronic charged water to run through the machine for a sec. Just turn that off so you can see the difference in the water. So our water here is quite good water, and it comes up as a blue, but at minimum it should be green. Okay, so we have pretty good source water in the Adelaide Hills. But if you use your pH chart, you should know that we would never drink anything under 7 pH. Our body is balanced at 7 pH. That's our natural body balance of our pH levels. So the water doesn't change our body pH levels at all, but we should never drink anything underneath that, because that can make our body very sick if we drink water that's underneath this. And this will be often rainwater, will be sitting around between 2.5 and 5.5 pH, you know. So rainwater is actually quite toxic to drink too. A lot of people think it's good. So there's a lot to learn about water. I'm going to educate you very slowly on it and give you some information, but I just want you to have a play with it. Use the water. Start on the 8.5 for the first 3 days. Allow your body to detox. If you're feeling you're getting a bit of diarrhea in the first 3 days, that means that your body's unbalanced and it's just going to sort itself out. And on the 4th day, your body will actually balance and feel much better, and it stops straight away. Seems to be like a magic number on day 4. Then go up to 9 pH for a couple of days. Just allow it to slowly move up, and then go to 9.5. So we ultimately want you on the 9.5 for drinking. So the next quick thing is just understanding you've got all these other little components that come with your machine. These are to do an e-clean a little bit later on, and you also have a cleaning tank. So just pop them in a box. I keep a big plastic Tupperware box underneath the counter. Pop your other little nozzles, the red ones, into your bag so you don't lose them. If they're wet, just make sure they're dry. So keep all that in your cupboard for later, and we'll show you the next cleaning video a little bit later. So if you have a pre-filter, it's even better to soften the water, because we have very hard chlorine in Adelaide, and chloramine, and really hard water here. So we do require pre-filtration. So that will make your ionizer work so much better as well. So just being mindful, because a lot of people think this is just a water filter. It's not a water filter, it's a water ionizer, and it's an electrolysis machine that makes multiple different pH waters. So I'm going to give you also my water balance website. Familiarise yourself with all the information in there, make it a lot easier for you. Hope you enjoyed the setup.